Hi, this is Brodi from Brodi's Kitchen. I know a lot of you are interested in gluten-free baking and want to know some tips to make regular recipes turn out even with gluten-free flours. So I'm going to make chocolate chip cookies, and this is based off of my favorite chocolate chip cookie recipe. You can use yours, and these will be 2 tricks that you need to know to convert any recipe to a gluten-free recipe. So here I have my gluten-free flour mix. You can use any one that you want. So whatever you're used to using. And then we're gonna add in whatever the recipe standard calls for. So this is baking powder, baking soda, salt, and then we all know about xanthan gum. So if your flour doesn't already include it, you need to have 3/4 of a teaspoon per 2 cups of flour. So I'm gonna add that into my dry ingredients and mix them all together. Now, what you need to know about gluten-free flours is that they require more hydration than your standard flours. So this is the same thing for whole wheat flours. So what you need to do is actually add a little more moisture. So we're gonna do that in a minute. So now my chocolate chip cookies call for regular butter and some brown butter. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that in. Just add it to the bowl. Make sure to get all those browned buttered bits, because to me that's what makes it taste extra good and toasty. And then sugar. And I'm using Florida Crystal sugar. They're raw cane sugar, both the regular and then this is the brown cane sugar. So I'm gonna put both of those in right at the same time. And I love Florida Crystal sugar. It's the only sugar that is made in the US with sustainable growing practices. And I always think it's super important to know where your ingredients come from. Quality ingredients will make a better quality product and you're gonna taste the difference. My recipe's got an egg and an egg yolk. Just gonna drop those in. And then the next thing we're gonna do is that extra moisture. So I'm using regular whole milk, so 2 tablespoons per 2 cups of flour. And then, my boys know I always like to have a secret ingredient. So it looks all nice and fancy in my jar here, but this is just plain white vinegar. So 1 teaspoon of the white vinegar goes into the milk, and that actually creates what's called sour milk. This is gonna be really good to create a great texture in your gluten-free baked goods. So those are your 2 tricks. These are the only 2 things you have to do: xanthan gum and extra moisture through sour milk. Now I'm gonna add in the flour and give it a good mix. This is what's actually different about gluten-free flour versus regular flour. With regular flour, you don't want to overmix and develop gluten. But with gluten-free flour, that's not the problem. You actually need to hydrate the grain. So you want to mix it even more than normal. And that's all you need to know to bake gluten-free.